Welcome back to NBA Cinema, guys. So I want to take a look at a few clips and kind of analyze uh, this statement by, Michael Jordan's former agent, David Faulk. And also Stephen A. Smith made some comments yesterday about LeBron and trying to control narratives and everything. Now, uh, David Falk, he said something this week when he was talking to the Sports Business Journal. Um, and he took a little dig at LeBron James. He said, I really like LeBron, but I think if Jordan had cherry picked what teams he wanted to be on, two other superstars, he would have won 15 championships. Now, um, 15 is that he wouldn't have won 15 championships, right? But his point is he feel like Jordan could have won some more. Now, Rich Paul did appear on the Rich Eisen show, and he did clap back at David Falk. He said, I just thought that was very unfair and a little beneath David Falk for a number of reasons. We can't have revisionist history, and we all want to determine who's the GOAT and who's the best, and so on and so forth. But I just thought that was a little beneath David to say that. When you look at that, right? Again, the cherry pick, I've discussed that. The two other superstars, Michael never had to leave. Michael's never been the underdog in any finals. Not one time. Michael never had a 24-hour, 365 news cycle. He never had shows built strictly to criticize him. Wow, that's wild. People made millions of dollars criticizing LeBron James. That was their entire job. I think for whatever reason, it worked out the way Jordan's teams were constructed with the coaching that they had, and him being the best player that I had ever seen. You know what I'm saying? I think it all worked out the way it was supposed to. I think you see nowadays certain guys be on teams. You just pick a superstar. That's not always the recipe to go out and win a championship. You need to fill out that roster. You need guys to come off the bench, be spark plugs, whether it be on the offensive glass, whether it be them being a 3-point specialist, whether it's just them giving some take fouls. Everything on the 12, 13 man roster is very important. Each player, right? And we're going to kind of look at some of the things as far as what's been said. Because Stephen A went off on LeBron and his camp for trying to control narratives. But, I saw David Falk, he come out and he say that. Let's look back at some of the things that's been said about the two.
Did you ever get to play any kind of game with him?
No. Never got an opportunity to compete against him.
Yeah. You meet him? You know him?
Yeah. Let me tell you a story, as a matter of fact. The first, so I'm growing up and I'm watching, this guy, Michael Jordan. I think all you guys know him, I think. So I'm growing up watching this guy on TV every day, and I'm like, wow, he's an amazing basketball player. Hopefully someday I get an opportunity to meet him. So I think it was my junior year in high school. I go up to Chicago and I go to a gym called Hoops where he plays basketball in the summertime. And I didn't know he was going to be there. But I seen him walking towards me, and it was kind of like he was walking on air. I had to pinch myself. Is that Michael? Who? And it's like he was like Black Jesus to me. Like I was like, are you finally here?
Yeah.
Michael Jordan, the Magic Johnsons, Larry Bird, Charles Barkley's, we earned what we got. That means when the corporate people came back, and I don't mean to demean the young kids, because I think it's something that they have to learn, and hopefully they will learn that, is that when the corporate America came to us, we had a game that could validate their admiration and what
sponsorship and all that, yeah.
Now they get that before they play one game.
Yeah.
So you're rolling the dice to see if this kid's ever going to be good or not.
Yeah.
So in essence, you're paying the kid off of potential that he may be great.
You don't think that's good?
No, because I think it sets bad work ethic. When you get something so easily, you're not going to work as hard.
You don't think so? Okay. We'll be right back.
And so many perceive that as a shot towards LeBron James. I'll say this. I'll say this. Jordan has a fair point as far as, and I ain't even talking about LeBron James. They needed someone coming in. Although, Kobe was his own thing, LeBron was that guy coming out of high school. And, you got to find the next thing. And he's did a good job living up to that face of the league, right? He's done a great job at. And so Nike, I mean, they got it right. You know what I'm saying? But you could also, when I say Jordan has a point, I'm thinking more like the Zion Williamsons and those type of people who can't stay in shape and all that. I feel like he has a point as far as that goes. But LeBron, he was supposed to get all that, and Jordan. A lot of times, the players that paved the way, you obviously don't get what these new guys get. He laid that groundwork for Nike to see a LeBron and say, "Oh yeah, we got to give him this right away," because what Jordan had brought in. So let's continue though, man.
The Jordan-LeBron relationship is a complicated one. Listening to LeBron describe the first time he met Michael Jordan at age 16, he compared it to meeting the Messiah. That is the level he put that moment on. He obviously wore 23, signed with Nike, wanted nothing more than to be close to Michael Jordan, and Jordan never embraced that, and they never were close. And here we have LeBron years later wearing another number, which he did midway through his career.
Okay, so you and Michael at a good spot.
Who, me and Michael?
Jordan.
Yeah, we're in a good spot. We don't talk.
Why not? You think?
Because I'm still playing. I think I'm still playing. I'm still focused on my craft right now.
When you're done, you think you two will be the only two that can have a conversation?
I hope so. I think it's because I'm still playing, and MJ's, we all know MJ. Even if you don't know him personally, he's one of the most ruthless competitors there is. And till I'm done, and he doesn't have to look at me run up and down wearing the number 23, and every time my name is mentioned with his, he's like, I don't want to fucking talk to you.
Yeah, I want to golf course.
Right there, LeBron James has a point. LeBron and Jordan, they're not going to be close while LeBron is breaking all these records, while he's climbing that mountain as far as, he's at the top of the mountain as far as all-time points scored in the NBA, still plays at a high level. And he proclaimed himself the GOAT after the Cleveland Cavaliers title, in which that's one of those things that people are saying, wait, that we're supposed to say that you're the GOAT, but you can't say it. We don't want to hear Michael Jordan or LeBron say they the GOAT. Real basketball fans don't. That's kind of just your barbershop talk. You take a position and a side, and you kind of elaborate on why you feel that way. Well, Stephen A. Smith, he went in recently, man, about, and this was just yesterday, he went in about that side, Rich Paul, LeBron James, and others trying to control the narrative of LeBron James being the GOAT, which he speculates is the reason that LeBron even approached him at that game. He said it has nothing to do with Bronny. That was just, the thing he used to go up and challenge Stephen A. Smith. But really, the underlying issue he feels like is this thing he's about to talk about right now. Let's check that out.
I have him number 2 all time. But I appreciated and respected your take, Will Bond, on Get Up earlier when you talked about Kobe needing to be in that conversation, Kareem needing to be in that conversation. I got no issues with that. But to me, LeBron James is number 2 all time. The thing that we have to understand that's important about this conversation is when we debate the GOAT, the negativity of it comes from LeBron and his camp, nobody else. When we say he's number 2 all time, we're appreciating the fact that of the thousands upon thousands of players that have played in the NBA since 1950 rather, okay? LeBron James, there's only one player we look at and we say definitively we think was better, and that was Michael Jordan. What did I say to Rich Paul one day? You act like that's an insult. Rich Paul's response, it is an insult. Because that is how they have acted when it comes to the GOAT conversation. And that's why a guy like Mike Wilbon has been on the #1 show in sports television for the last 25 years. Congratulations to you and my man Tony Kornheiser. We're #1 in the mornings. They're #1, period. They're #1, period. We know our place. Here's the deal. Mike Wilbon has said this publicly. We're not some PR machine for you. Didn't you say that about LeBron and his kid? You said we ain't some PR. You know, we gonna watch what we watch, and we come to one. Even in saying that he's the greatest you've ever seen, Kendrick Perkins, you have said, ain't no damn PR machine. I'll say what I mean and mean what I say. So you just happen to feel that he's the greatest, but you were recognizing the fact that they were trying to compel people to say he was the greatest. Michael Jordan didn't say that about himself. Kobe Bryant didn't say that about himself. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar didn't say that about himself. Bill Russell didn't say that about himself. Tim Duncan didn't say that about himself. Nobody said that. Nobody but him and his camp. Steph Curry hasn't said that about himself. Steph Curry has never called himself the greatest shooter of all time. Ray Allen never called himself the greatest shooter of all time. Reggie Miller never called himself the greatest shooter of all time. Allen Houston never called himself the greatest shooter of all time. Nobody called himself the greatest in anything but that man and his camp. And then when we refute it in any way, people like myself and Mike Wilbon and others, when we walk the streets, we're haters. So the debate and the vitriol and all of that stuff comes directly from them.
So Stephen A., he makes very valuable points, but I do want to call cap on one thing. He says Steph Curry never say he's the greatest anything. He did say he was a greater point guard all time than Magic Johnson, about a year and a half ago. And so that's been something that many people have been talking about. So yes, Steph has done it too. It's true that Michael Jordan has never openly said it to where we can go find a clip of him saying that he's the GOAT player. He's always deferred to the ones that came before him. He talks about putting basketball in its proper perspective and era. So many rules, so many things change over the course of the history of the game that you can't possibly say that one player is the greatest, because you'd have to remove all external factors and just look at what you see on the court in your era and say that, it's greater than any other era that has come before it. And I'll say this, there's always been chatter about each era. I remember the era before Mike and them was saying how the game had gotten softer when Mike and them came. And then, the era from the 90s and the early 2000s, specifically, when Steve Nash started winning those MVPs and the hand checking was lessened out the game a lot more. They said it has softened up then, and now they saying, it's softer than it's ever been now. So, I mean, there's always been era talk, and so that's not all that surprising. I know a lot of people don't like the way LeBron tries to say he's the GOAT in real time. And he paints a narrative as if the rest of this is just icing on the cake because I'm so far past Jordan. I was past Jordan back when I won the Cleveland title, so anything is icing on the cake. Basketball fans is not going for that. And it'd be nice for LeBron, in my personal humble opinion, to just allow fans to say what they think. Because it's not like his career doesn't have a compelling argument already. But then when you try to make people see it as that's the only possible GOAT that people can have, then that's, it's really just barbershop talk anyway. Like a lot of times, I really break it down in eras, and I can't say, I always say this when I speak about LeBron. LeBron is somebody back in Michael Jordan's era who would have went and played for Dean Smith for at least 3 years. His career goes totally different, back then. So you can't say the LeBron that came out of high school and compare it when it's a whole different era. You know what I'm saying? I guess you could compare him to Kobe more so, I guess, somewhat. They spent enough time in their primes or, earlier part of LeBron's career / prime playing in the same era together. So, yes, you can make that comparison out of high school and all that, but you look back at Jordan's era, you got a LeBron James, going to, Carolina or Maryland, after Lynn Bias or somebody, if he's coming along that time, he plays in college 2 or 3. I mean, at least 3 years back then, most likely, right? So you're looking at a totally different uh, fundamental foundation with LeBron James than you had back then. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying. So it's hard to make these arguments, but I kind of want to look back at some of the things that's been said because Jordan's agent, he kind of comes out of nowhere saying this about LeBron, and so now it's looking like okay, some of Jordan's side is coming out and making some arguments. Jordan is coming back to commentate games, for a rumored $40 million a year to do that. But we don't know. We don't know. We gonna continue to watch this though. But yeah, I wanted to show y'all what Stephen A. Smith said, and just some of the things that's happened between Jordan and LeBron through the years. Let me know what you guys think it is. You think these guys will have a relationship? I don't think LeBron will ever go on or Jordan will ever go on LeBron's platform. I don't think that's happening. I just because it's a brand thing. Jordan don't have a platform, to put LeBron on, like that, a podcast or nothing. But yeah, I just can't see it, and I understand that their brands is too large. They don't want to go on the other one brand. I get all that. You know what I'm saying? So, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Till next time, peace.